Let me tell you a story about a family that looked normal from the outside but was already breaking from the inside. It began the day something changed between two sisters, a change so quiet that nobody noticed it at first, but so dangerous that it later destroyed their peace. Anyone who entered that house could feel it, even without being told. Something was wrong. Before we continue, please subscribe for more powerful stories like this. There was a man named Alabi. He was 45 years old, tall, strong, and very confident in himself. In his community, people respected him because he spoke boldly and worked hard. When Alabi talked, others listened. He lived with his wife Sade and their two daughters in a town in southwestern Nigeria. The house was beautiful and clean, with a small veranda where Alabi liked to sit every evening and watch people pass. Alabi had two daughters. The first was Bola, the elder one. Bola was quiet, thoughtful, and very observant. She did not talk too much, but she noticed everything. The second was Kaike, the younger one. Kako was lively and sweet-talking, with bright eyes and a smile that easily melted hearts. Many people liked Kako without trying too hard. From the beginning, Alabi loved Keke more than he loved Bola. It was not a small difference. It was loud and clear for everyone to see. He did not hide it. When Keke did something little, like sweeping a corner of the house or greeting him nicely, Alabi would praise her openly. He would laugh, touch her head, and call her his joy. When Bola did the same thing, Alabi would barely look at her. Inside that house, love did not move equally. It flowed strongly toward Kaike and left Bola standing dry. At first, Bola did not understand it. She believed that if she tried harder, her father would notice her too. So she woke up early to help her mother. She cleaned until her hands were sore. She read her books loudly, hoping Alabi would hear and be proud of her. But nothing changed. If Alabi bought one sweet, it was for Kaiha. If visitors came, he introduced Kaike proudly and spoke about her achievements, while Bola stood quietly, waiting to be remembered. When Alabi went to school events, he held Kike's hand tightly, while Bola followed behind, like someone who was not part of the picture. People outside the house noticed this behavior. Neighbors whispered. Some elders shook their heads in silence. Even teachers could see it when Alabi came around. Everyone knew Kaike was her father's favorite. Their mother, Sade, tried to balance things. She would comfort Bola in private, telling her she was important and loved. But her words could not fully heal the wound. She looked worried most of the time, like a woman watching a crack slowly grow in her wall, knowing one day it might bring the whole house down. As time passed, the favoritism began to affect the sisters. When they were younger, Bola and Kika were very close. They shared stories at night and laughed together. But as Alabi's love became more obvious, something changed in Kaike's heart. She began to enjoy the special treatment. She started to see it as proof that she was better. Sometimes, when Alabi praised her, Kaike would look at Bola with a small, proud smile. Other times, she would repeat their father's words, as if reminding Bola of her position in the house. Bola felt herself slowly pulling away, becoming quieter, carrying pain she did not know how to express. The house that once felt warm began to feel tense. Bola felt invisible. Kaike felt powerful. And Alabi, without knowing it, was feeding a rivalry that was growing stronger every day. Then one evening, as the sun sank low and painted the sky red, Alabi called Kiki to sit beside him on the veranda. In front of everyone, he placed his hand on her head and spoke words that cut deep into the heart of the family. That moment planted a seed that would soon grow into something nobody in that house was ready for. After that evening on the veranda, things in the house did not feel the same again. Alabi's words kept ringing in the air long after the sun had gone down. He had called Kaike his crown, his future, the child who would make his name great. He said it loudly, smiling proudly, while Bola stood a few steps away, holding a bowl she was supposed to take inside. Nobody mentioned Bola at all. That night, Bola did not sleep well. She turned and turned on her mat, listening to the sound of Kaike's soft breathing beside her. Her chest felt tight, like something heavy was sitting on it. She kept asking herself what she had done wrong. She was older. She was obedient. She tried her best. Yet it felt like she did not exist in her own father's eyes. The next morning, the tension followed them into the day. At breakfast, Alabi served Kaika first. He added extra egg to her plate and told her to eat well so she would grow strong. Bola waited quietly. When she finally reached for food, the egg pot was empty. Nobody noticed. At school, Bola's mind was not on her books. She stared at the board, but her thoughts were at home. She felt angry, sad, and confused all at once. She wondered why love in her house had rules that only she did not understand. Keika, on the other hand, began to change more. She walked with her head higher. She talked more boldly. Sometimes she spoke to Bola in a sharp way, ordering her around like she was not her sister. When Bola tried to correct her, Keiko would say, "Daddy listens to me, not you." Those words hurt more than slaps. Their mother, Sade, saw everything. She noticed Bola growing quieter and Kike growing bolder. She tried to talk to Alabi one night, telling him softly that both girls needed love, but Alabi brushed it aside. He said Kaiko was special and Bola would understand when she grew older. Shada kept quiet after that, but fear lived in her eyes. One afternoon, a small argument broke out between the sisters over chores. It started with sweeping but ended with shouting. Kaka accused Bola of jealousy. Bola accused Kaka of pride. Their voices rose until Alabi came out angrily. Without asking questions, he scolded Bola and sent her inside. Keiki stood behind him, calm and untouched. That was when Bola understood something painful. In that house, she would always be wrong. And the space between the two sisters widened, filling with bitterness that nobody knew how to stop. The turning point came on a day nobody expected. It was during a family gathering when relatives came to visit. The house was full, laughter everywhere, food cooking, voices rising and falling. Alabi was in a very good mood, showing off his family to everyone. In front of the visitors, he asked Kaika to recite something she had learned in school. Kaika stood proudly and spoke well. Everybody clapped. Alabi smiled widely. Then, without warning, one auntie asked Bola to also speak. Bola froze. Her heart began to beat fast. She was not prepared. Still, she stood up and spoke gently. Her voice shook, but her words were correct. The room was quiet when she finished. Instead of praising her, Alabi laughed. He said Bola was too dull and slow compared to her sister. He said it loudly in front of everyone. Something broke inside Bola at that moment. She ran into the room and locked the door. For the first time, she cried loudly, without hiding. Shade tried to comfort her, but the wound was deep. That night, Keiko went to Bola quietly. She did not come to apologize. She came to warn her. She told Bola that as long as Daddy lived, she would always be the chosen one. Her voice was calm, but her words were cruel. Bola looked at her sister and realized the rivalry was no longer just about love. It had turned into something darker. And Bola made a quiet decision in her heart, one that scared her even as she thought of it. After that day, Bola changed. She stopped trying to please her father. She focused on herself. She read harder. She stayed quiet. People began to notice her intelligence at school, even if her father did not. Kaika noticed too. She felt threatened. The attention she enjoyed no longer felt safe. She began to lie about Bola, blaming her for things she did not do. Alabi believed every word. The house became full of shouting and silence. Sade cried often. She felt like she was losing her family piece by piece. One evening, Bola overheard her parents arguing. Sade finally spoke strongly. She told Alibi he was destroying his children. Alibi shouted back, saying Bola was ungrateful and KK was his blessing. Bola listened with tears in her eyes and understood something clearly. Her father might never change. That night she packed a small bag and went to stay with her aunt for a while. It was not running away, it was survival. The house felt empty without her, but the damage had already been done. Years passed. Bola grew older, wiser, and stronger. Life taught her lessons, pain started. She learned that love should never be begged for and that silence can sometimes save you. Kaike also grew older. Without competition, she felt lost. The love she depended on could not teach her kindness or humility. When Alabi grew old and weak, he finally saw the truth too late. One day he called Bola and cried. He apologized for the pain he caused. Bola listened quietly. The anger she once carried was gone, replaced with understanding. The sisters met again as adults. The rivalry had faded, leaving scars but also lessons. They spoke honestly for the first time. Alabi learned that favoritism can destroy families. Love without balance can ruin a heart, and parents' words can shape a child's whole life. The story ends with one clear truth. Love shared unfairly can create wounds that last forever, but healing begins when truth is finally faced.